Hi, I'm Mishti Max, and I'm here to share this really quick and easy Halloween tutorial that gives you the effect of fancy looking special effects prosthetic stuff without any of the pro supplies. In one of her tutorials, Drac Makens mentioned that she used hot glue to make some 3D blood drops with simulated candle wax in this method, and I thought I would give it a try and show you guys how I did it. Basically, all you need is a hot glue gun. You can get them from craft stores or even off eBay. I also have some scrap cardboard, which I like to rest my glue gun on as it heats up, and also to wipe off the tip as I work. I have a pack of hot glue sticks just to make sure I have enough goo to go around. And you'll also need a work surface that can take the heat of the hot glue and won't stick to your blobs when you peel them off. Something like aluminium foil will work well enough, but I decided on some baking paper for the oven. After you've plugged your glue gun in for a while and it's nice and toasty and ready to go, I take my weapon of choice to begin squeezing out the glue into these drip shapes. I let the glue ooze out in a nice round blob and then drag the gun away from it quickly so the glue trails off into a fine point. Feel free to create a few different sizes and shapes, including some multi-globule drips and round singular blips. I layered up the structure of these drips to build on them and get an interesting configuration. Try to eliminate the small strings that stream behind the gun by wiping off the glue gun on your piece of cardboard, or by quickly sweeping them away with your fingers. If you haven't used a hot glue gun before, get someone to help you, because this glue is incredibly hot and you don't want it on your skin until it's cooled. Don't worry if you don't get good shapes on your first run, because it takes a little bit of practice to get good control of glue as a medium. Depending on which part of the face I wanted to apply these later, I changed the size of the blobs. I wanted smaller ones for around the eyes, or to simulate rivulets of blood, and for great globs of slime, I went for a bigger, flatter appearance. The more glue you pile up at once, the flatter the appliance will be, but you can get a thinner line with a small amount of glue by moving your glue gun away from the initial drop quickly and only squeezing a little bit out. When I finished playing around with the sticky goodness, I let the glue drips dry so they become solid and cool to the touch. Then I went about removing them off the baking paper. And by using this surface, they come off really easily, and the paper doesn't stick to the backs as it would if you went directly onto printer paper or cardboard. I made sure to clean up the drips by pulling the little hairy strings off the ends and trimming off any parts I don't like with scissors. Then I have a pile of translucent drippy blobs like this, but I certainly don't want them to stay that way. I grabbed some brushes out of this lovely red brush kit I received from MyMakeupBrush. I chose some small synthetic ones, which will go well with the Makeup Forever Flash palette that I'm using as my cream paint. I started with some of the red cream, and I mixed a tiny bit of black and brown to add depth to the shade. I simply painted all the drips red, making sure to coat the backs of them so they look red all the way through. You can also use cheap cream makeup from the Halloween store. Make sure you have something down on your work surface to catch all that excess paint that you flick around, because this gets really messy. I'm just using some more of that baking paper. I think it may have been easier to paint these bits while they were stuck down onto the baking paper, but you have to pick them off to get the underside anyway, so either way works. I added some of the darker creams around the edges for color variation so the blood isn't too bright red and the blobs look even more 3D. And I will probably add shading to them when I stick them onto my face. I make sure to blend the darker areas into the main red color to get a nice gradient. And I'm doing that by wiping off my brush and adding some more red cream over the top. Other makeup products you could try to use to paint these are liquid to matte lipsticks, cream lipsticks, or even watercolor face paints. Although I'm not sure how water-based products will adhere to the glue. Cream products seem to cling on pretty well, but when I used a liquid to matte lipstick, it was hard to get a non-streaky appearance. Then I grabbed some of the larger drips to play with, and I took the large synthetic eyeshadow brush from the kit to smear around some of the green cream from the Flash palette. I did the same process, dabbing on the green color, and you can choose any color you like for whatever dripping creature you want to create. The best thing to paint the glue pieces is probably acrylic paints, as Drac Makens used, but since I didn't have any of those, I used something already in my makeup kit. I didn't paint all of the glue drips I created, I just chose some of the ones I liked best, taking smaller, skinnier drips for the blood effect and fatter, more bulbous ones for the slime. I also added a tiny bit of brown to some of the dips of the drips, and I blended that into the green so it was really subtle. After thoroughly attacking these little duties with cream paints, you need to set them. For the red drips, I have this sugar pill eyeshadow called Love Plus, and I'm using the fluff brush from the kit to thoroughly dust over all the surfaces with red eyeshadow. You really want to saturate these little guys to make sure the cream won't rub off all over the place, and it also solidifies the color. You could also use translucent or colorless face powder if you don't have the correct color of eyeshadow, and that will still set the cream paints. For the green slime pieces, I have the sugar pill eyeshadow called Acid Berry, and I'm digging in a fluffy brush to really get this shade all over there. This is a perfect gooey slime color, and it even has a small amount of shimmer that makes these blobs look extra juicy. So there we go, I'm done preparing these easy little appliances that will give a decent result to your Halloween makeup without needing any special effects supplies. And all you need to stick them on your face is use a special effects adhesive like Prozaid. But if you don't have that, regular false eyelash glue works as well. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this really quick little Halloween tutorial, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos. Also check out my band and podcast on iTunes. And if you want to send me a letter or something, I have my PO box in the description box.